Dan and Amy, and Amy, it's sad. This is sad.
What's
Bit of a sad story.
Okay, about the Cubs? I know it's.
Well, no.
There's always game 2 and 3 and 4.
Hillary Clinton wished herself a happy birthday on Twitter. Happy birthday to this future president at Hillary Clinton. That's sad when you have to wish yourself a happy birthday, isn't it?
She said that happy birthday to the future president?
Yeah, and it's a picture of her as a young girl from 120 years ago.
Who does that? You don't. The part about the birthday is you celebrate. You have people celebrate you. You don't celebrate yourself.
Well, it's lonely at the top there.
Probably because Bill didn't get her anything.
I wonder what her birthday plans are. A romantic dinner with Bill? Those two crazy kids still as in love today as they were when they gazed across the Yale Law Library and saw one another.
In the spring of 1971.
Remember like it was yesterday. What do you think Hillary Clinton will do to celebrate her birthday? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line, and how will UMA be involved? And in addition to celebrating it by wishing herself a happy birthday. So she's already taken that. So
Do you think she sent herself flowers?
Think about that. You think
The ultimate sign of desperation.
You think she's a flowers type? Maybe a new pantsuit? We'll think about that. We'll take your calls. But while you contemplate that important question and the disturbing responses that it will generate, undoubtedly, we're happy to be joined by Stephen Moore. He, of course, is chief economist at the Heritage Foundation and a Trump campaign economic advisor. Steve, thanks for being with us.
Hi, guys. All right, I'm so sick of this negativity. We lose one game, and everybody's in a panic. We're going to win this series in 6 games. Okay, we're going to win in 6 games.
All
We're
right.
the first year.
All right, he's a numbers guy, but I don't think so.
And Donald Trump is going to win this.
He's going to win this.
You see the polls out this morning. The polls out this morning show a significant narrowing. The race is virtually in the margin of error of the polls now. So game on, baby.
All right, so he's got so that's Steve Moore. He's got Cubs in 6 and Trump in 6. I don't know how that ladder is going to work exactly, but maybe 6 battleground states he needs to win. How about
there
that?
you go.
So make the closing argument for Donald Trump. What would you hope voters are thinking as they early vote or go to the polls in 13 days?
That's such an easy question. It seems like a trick question. Look, it's got to be about the economy. We have a plan that will actually create jobs. She's got a recession agenda. I mean, by the way, is there a single economic theory out there, known to man, that says raising taxes when the economy is growing at 1% is somehow going to create more jobs? She's got $1 trillion tax increase. We have one of the biggest tax cuts in history, a la Reagan and JFK. And finally, the big problem for Hillary is she has said, she's on record as saying, I want to double down on Obamacare. I don't need to dwell on this too long. People know that Obamacare is truly the Hindenburg of healthcare plans. It is blowing up right before our very eyes. It cannot be patched together. We have to repeal it altogether and start over again. So those need to be the closing arguments.
Okay.
And if they are, if people go to the polls and they vote on the economy, on healthcare, on issues like that, rather than his personal behavior, then he's going to win.
I know that you mentioned Trump's going to abolish Obamacare if elected president, but what's his solution? What is his plan?
We're going to dramatically increase competition. We're going to allow people to buy insurance across state lines, so that instead of having maybe one insurance provider, which is what a lot of states are stuck with now under Obamacare, you'll have hundreds. We're going to do medical malpractice insurance reform. We're going to allow people to buy medical savings accounts that allow them to save money that they don't use on their health insurance. All sorts of reforms that give people many more options. Basically, Hillary's saying, okay, it's not working, so we're going to have a single-payer system, which is just basically the government running the health insurance market. So you'll have essentially one insurance company, and that will be the government. Under our system, there will be scores of people insurance companies to buy health plan from. And look, Dan and I share a lot of political philosophy, but, he and I probably don't want to buy the same health insurance package.
Right.
Why should the law say that we have to buy the same package? Why can't everybody? I know, Dan, he has a much lower risk tolerance than I do. So, those are the kinds of things that you can make your own decisions. You don't have to have Hillary make that decision for you.
Now, I know you're an economist, you're not a pollster, but you're also politically sophisticated. And this story in the Washington Post is interesting to me. According to FEC filings, Trump's presidential campaign has spent $1 million on polling in the last 5 months.
It is on what? I couldn't hear you.
He spent the campaign has spent $1.8 million on polling in the last 4 months. Excuse me, not in the last 4 months, in the last 14 months, from June 15 to the end of September. And it's during the same period, it spent $3.2 million on hats. And I'm pollsters. I don't believe in pollsters as shaman, and there's no magic number on spend. But the idea that he got through the primary on intuition and tapping into the angst, and then you know what polls do, Steve? They help you say what you want to say. They don't tell you what to say, but they can help you say what you want to say. And I just worry that as we look back on this, if he is unsuccessful, if we won't regret that he wasn't more careful about what he had to say, how he responded to controversy, there wasn't more thought and strategy put into it.
Well, I agree with that. I'm frustrated as all, conservatives and Republicans are, that it has not been a good campaign in the last 3 weeks. There's no question that, you can't sugarcoat this, right? It's been lousy. He should be hitting, he had so many opportunities to hit Hillary in ways that he didn't in the debate. He should have been asking the question, Hillary, you keep saying you've been in public service for the last 30 years with the Children's Defense Fund and the State Department and the United States Senate, and, your husband's been in politics for his whole life. How in the world did you, if you're in public service, how did you get $100 million? And she doesn't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
And it makes a mockery of her idea that she's some kind of public servant. You don't get rich off of public service, and she has. But, look, she is going to have, when all is said and done, she will have spent probably $1 billion. That is not just her, but all her special interest PACs. And one of the laugh lines, and the media is so biased, they don't even bring this up, what a hypocrite she is. You remember she said 2 or 3 times in the debate, I want to get rid of Citizens United.
Yeah,
I want to get rid of special interest money in politics. It's like a laugh line. I mean, that's the most ridiculous claim. She is the queen of special interest money. There's been no American in political history who has raised more special interest money than Hillary Clinton. Folks, if you want to vote for the person who the lobbyists and the special interests love, then there's no question that Hillary's your candidate. Every lobbying firm on K Street, I'm on K Street right now, they love Hillary. They're terrified of Obama. She doesn't want to get rid of special interest money. We do.
Terrified of Trump, you mean?
Is that Trump? Yes.
Yeah, right.
All right. So the latest, yeah.
So come on, Amy. We got 2 weeks to go.
Goes.
Where are you? Are you with us
Here
or
he
are you
goes.
against us?
I'm lukewarm, leaning toward you. Lukewarm. I want to know how I can. No, honestly, I mean, national security is important, but also how can I keep more of the money that I make? I mean, people don't look at their paychecks anymore because it goes to direct deposit. But if you look down the breakdown of your paycheck, it's unbelievable how much money we're paying in taxes.
Well, that's why, we have a tax cut plan. Look, it's very simple because there's been some confusion about, the middle class could pay more taxes under Trump. No. It's very simple. If you pay taxes, if you pay income taxes, you do, Amy, you do, Dan, I do, most of the people listening to the show because they're going to work, they pay taxes. If you pay taxes, you're going to get a tax cut under the Trump plan. I think it's almost impossible for Hillary to pay for all the new spending she wants to do, which is in the trillions of dollars, by just taxing the top 1%. I mean, how many times have liberals said that? Only the rich are going to pay higher taxes. If anybody in America should know that that's a lie, it's people in Illinois, right? I mean, you raise taxes through the roof on rich people, and you got the biggest budget deficit of any state in the country. It doesn't work, folks. It's never worked.
Steve, let me ask you a question that gets beyond this election, regardless of who the next president is. And we just had a forum on this that I moderated for Truth in Accounting in Chicago earlier this week with Scott Shalady from Fox Business and Jim Urio from CNBC and Joe Marin, a private equity guy from New York. What's the next financial crisis major financial crisis the next president of the United States is going to face? The biggest one. And the real question that would be on that is, are we looking at dark times regardless of who the next president is, between sovereign debt and unfunded pension liabilities and student loan debt, all of the afflictions of the U.S. economy?
I think that you put your finger on it. I think the biggest worry in the economy right now is the massive unfunded liabilities of these government pensions and the $20 trillion of debt. And people are buying all of these government bonds. I have no idea why. I don't give much investment advice, but I will tell you this, folks. If you're buying 10-year Treasury bills at 1.8% interest rate, you're a fool. You're going to actually lose money on those because inflation is going to go up. Interest rates are going to rise. You don't want to buy a 10-year instrument that's going to pay you less than the inflation rate over the next 10 years. So I think the next bubble that's going to burst is going to be in interest rates. They're going to start to rise again, and we're not prepared for that. And these governments are going to start going belly up with that. And the best, the best protection against that is to start cutting government spending in Springfield and in Washington, D.C. Nobody seems to want to do that. And I will finally say this, that if Hillary Clinton is elected and she raised taxes by $1.5 trillion, we are going to have a recession, and it could be another painful one. We got to cut taxes, get growth up. Remember this. I've said it on Fox News. I said it on your show. With Donald Trump as president, we get 5 years of 4% growth. That's like adding 3 more Illinois to the U.S. economy.
All right. Excuse me. All right. He is Steve Moore, Trump campaign economic advisor. Steve, thanks for being with us.
Have a good time. You got the big, what do you call it, the Freedom Fest thing coming up
Saturday.
On Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I wish I could be there. I got to be on the road with Trump, but give my best to all the great conservatives in Illinois, and sorry I'm going to miss you guys.
Will do. Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate it.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye. And he joined us.
Bye. Bye, Steve.
Bye, Steve. He joined us on our turn.
Bye.
The Pro answer line.